God is so good. And when I was 7 or 8, 9 years old, if somebody asked me about God, I say, God is good, He's God. But what is He mean for you? I don't know, it's God. That's it. Nothing really, really big because I don't understand too much what God is. But one afternoon, the word eclipse means for eclipse is in English, eclipse, when the moon come in front to the sun. That happened when I was 10 years old, an eclipse. I was maybe 3 p.m. in the afternoon, and all the city. Hello. Now? Okay. This is part of the introduction. To call your attention. Don't sleep, please. Don't sleep. I know this is a little cold, but don't sleep yet. So I remember that I saw all the city become dark, really, really, really dark. And I have no many explanation. My dad and my mom, they don't have too many things to tell me about this, phenomenon. So I went to my mother, my grandmother, and said, "Hey, mommy, what is that? What's going on?" And she has no a technical explanation to me about that physical phenomenon. And what she's saying, that specific day, changed my mind and give me a new and powerful idea about God. He said, "Hey, son, Christian, God's finger take the moon and move it in front of the sun. And now we have this, and so you can enjoy it." Has nothing good, nothing really big, nothing technical, nothing, But this simple explanation bring a word, a couple words in my mind. Wow, God is so big. His finger moved the moon. And from that day on, God became my hero. I love that day to sing about God, to preach about God. I remember I was 10, 11 years old. I love to preach. My dad write the sermons, and they put because this was too high for me, where they put the flowers, they take the flowers up and they put for me so I can preach. And I began to enjoy to serve God from my little age. And God became that God that can do everything for me. And until now, I still believe in God has so much power that He can afford to take one day and to pass in front of us. That's 1,000 days. He is the same God that has so much power that He can take a phrase that somebody wrote many, 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 many years ago, and you can believe that this word is for you. And 100 million of people are thinking in the same day that God wrote that phrase for them too. This is power. He can take a person and just use that person's life so a country can follow his testimony. And, I was thinking about Nehemiah. Nehemiah represents a new generation, a Jewish generation. Nehemiah is a generation of Jews that grew up in Persia, and they become a very good positionary people with good job, with good salaries, with good standard of life. Are you with me? Nehemiah, I'm pronouncing good. Nehemiah. So Nehemiah was in a very good position, but he also represents that generation that even when they live far away from Jerusalem, they keep their faith up. They keep believing in God. They respect the Jews' law. And also, they have the favor of the king of Persia. So, all in all, Nehemiah has a very good position in life in that moment. But now I want to ask you permission. And I know I have your attention for a short time now. I know that. give me your attention for this short time and make your best to understand me. And I want to ask you permission to use Nehemiah as an example of America. And I need your permission because I'm not from here. I'm from Ecuador. I'm from South America. But for some reason, God has put me some clear, some image about Nehemiah and the United States. You know why? Because the same thing with Nehemiah happened in America. America is a country that many years ago, people from Scotland, England, Germany, somewhere else, Russian, came here, you know, and they brought something. That's something that these people brought here make the foundation of the great nation that you became. They bring faith. And this faith become the foundation of these countries. And this country, because that foundation grow in every single area, financial, physical, you know, spiritual. This country, you know, in our countries, we all speak about the American dream. And it's true. Yes, I know there is many people complaining about America now. I saw many on Facebook, but let me tell you something. Here is still freedom. You still have more than you need. More. Of course, America is facing battles, but you had no idea the battles that other countries are facing. So America and Nehemiah are the same. It's a country, it's a person with a good foundation of faith and growth, prosper, you know. And for that reason, I want to use your permission to speak about the parallel between Nehemiah and America. And you and Abigail now. Abigail and you, you are a new generation of American. You are a new generation of people, God's children, that receive something as a legacy. You receive a legacy of freedom. You receive a legacy of prosperity. You receive a legacy of faith. The same thing as Nehemiah. You are in the same position now. You receive a country. You receive a legacy. You receive an inheritance. And this country, for many years, lived the mission in the world. Let me tell you that many hospitals, I don't want to speak any country else, only my wife's country and my country where I live, in Peru, in Ecuador, many hospitals, many orphanages, many churches. Somebody from here, some Nehemiah from here, buy it, build it, pay it, sustain from this country. Many radio stations, many things, many things. This country became the leader of the mission in the world. When there is, in the 40s, there's a tree, very dangerous tribe in my country. Their name is Aucas. Nobody deal with them. Nobody. One American guy buy an airplane and go into the middle of the jungle to preach them about Jesus. They killed them, but the message saved them. Right now, we had 49 churches between the Aucas because a crazy American Nehemiah made the decision to do something for somebody in suffering. This is your legacy, church. This is your legacy, America. You had a faith. You had the most beautiful foundation. You know what? One day Nehemiah was sitting maybe in his office, in his house, in the palace, I don't know where. He was trying to prepare himself to do his job. And somebody came from Jerusalem. And Nehemiah said, okay, let me ask them about how my brothers and sisters are doing there. He said, hey, how are you doing? I'm doing good. Are you coming from Jerusalem? Yes, I am. Tell me about my family there. But Nehemiah listened in that specific moment, broke his heart. Because the Bible says that the same moment that he heard about the suffering of his family, his people in Jerusalem, he sat and cried. And you know, and and Sister Caroline really helped me to try to pronounce good. He cried and prayed and fast and be sad for five months. He began to cry in a month. Open your Bible, please, in Nehemiah. One, 4. Kishlu, Pastor Hughes or Pastor David, can you help me? How do you pronounce that month? Kashlu, Kishlu, in Spanish is Keslu. Kislu. He began to cry in Kislu. That's mean the middle of November. And he stopped to cry in Nisan. That mean April. He cried for 5 months, Sister Linda. Was last Monday, 7 p.m., I was searching my computer. And in Facebook, and somebody posts information there. And when I saw the picture, it said, 21 Coptos Christian was killed just because they loved Jesus. I saw myself fell into my chair to cry. 21 people, only because they love Jesus, somebody take their life. And I make a comparison. Nehemiah heard the very bad news about his family, and he cried for 5 months. And now, here's my point. America, for some reason, even when you before this country lead the mission, lead the action to do something for the people in suffering, for some reason, something is happening that you are crying more and action less. After 5 months of crying and fasting and praying, Nehemiah do something. He spoke to the king. He find resources. He find a way. He make a plan. He went to Jerusalem. He began to build. He has to fight. He has to put his life in risk. He moved people with him. There is people that maybe lost their life doing this job. And I ask myself, Christian, why we are so, how you say, quietos, quiet? Why we are so, why we are not desesperating about to think about do something, to move in some direction, to say something, to go somewhere. It's like it's our family is suffering somewhere else, and we are just here singing, somebody crying, somebody praying, somebody fasting, but no action. What's happened, Brother Dustin? And maybe this sermon is not for you. Maybe it's for me. And the Spirit of the Lord have some special plan that I don't know to let me share with you this. But I find one reason between the difference with Nehemiah's time and our time, America. The reason is a word, one word, that this word change of meaning in that time, in this time. The word is worship, faith. Worship. Right now, if you ask somebody here, what's worship for you? You will find many answers. Worship is a song. Worship is a praise. Worship is offering. Worship is donation. Worship is dance. Worship is pray. And they are right. But maybe we need to see in the Bible these same things, but maybe we are losing some part of the movie, of the book. When I begin to find about worship, about a song, I found this powerful song that Moses wrote in Exodus 15. He was in the desert. He was being experienced to be dead because Pharaoh followed him, pursued him with many soldiers, and God saved him and saved all the people. Then he wrote a song. I grew up from the desert. It's a sacrifice song. About praise, you need to read Luke chapter 1, verse 45 and 46. When Mary wrote a song about how God, you can use me as your servant. Yes. Mary was accepting a very dangerous or riskful mission to be the mother of the Messiah without a marriage. If you need an offering, you can see the offering of the widow. When Jesus saw the people putting the offering in the bucket, this little woman gave everything she has. 2 little that means sacrifice. The donation, we're speaking about donation today as a worship. We need to go to Barnabas, and he gave all that he has for the mission. We spoke about dance. We need to see David dancing with all his strength that his wife was embarrassing about him because he was dancing. With all his strength as a king. You want to pray? Jesus praying in the mountain of Olives, breaking his will to do his Father's will. If you put together all these examples that I give you today, this worship, the songs, praise, pray, donation, offerings, have something in common: sacrifice. This is a single word that right now we are losing in our country, in our church, in our culture, in our age. The sacrifice. Because we are comfort living in the palace. We have very good comfort receiving a message every Sunday, singing a very good prepared worship time music, doing something sometimes, going somewhere sometimes, but sacrifice is no more in our schedules. It's no more in our schedule because we had eyes in the street. We canceled the prayer meeting, but I need to ask you something. Did you pray in your house Wednesday night? No, you don't. Because there is eyes in the streets. Many people lost their power in their houses. How many people do you host in your house without power? Maybe few. You know why? Because there is something that we lost in our worship. We lost sacrifice. Nehemiah understood that cry and pray and fast was not enough. And you know what? Nehemiah chapter 4 verse 23 say, my brothers, myself, my young people, nobody take off their dress. You know who say that? The same guy that has to be beside the king every day, has to smell good, look good, be nice, very good looking, because he was working beside the king. That maybe using the best cologne, the best creams, the best suit, just like me. But now, because his brothers, his sister, that was suffering, he cannot even change his clothes, take a shower. That's sacrifice. I'm going somewhere. I'm going somewhere. When you take your worship to the next level, the next level in your worship is a sacrifice. Your context will be transformed. God moved the heart of the king. God opened doors. God provide everything for Nehemiah. You know why? Because God see Nehemiah's worship as a sacrifice thing. When the church in Jerusalem was struggling, when the church in Jerusalem was passing a very, very bad moment, you know what the church in Antioch did? They sell their stuff to bless Jerusalem's church. Not only pray. If United States of America today have the prosperity, the freedom that you have, it's because someday your grandfather, your father, your grandfather take their worship to God to the next level, to the sacrifice level, to the military, to the social, to the political, to the cultural. They take their worship to God, their love to God, their faith to God to the next level. To do something, not only to think, to pray, to cry, to do something with sacrifice for this country. I'm not a prophet. I'm not a prophet. But I can assure you what is the future of your children if I see the level of sacrifice that you put them in your house. I'm not a prophet, but I can assure you the future of your children if you never put them in sacrifice style of life. To do something with sacrifice for their house, sacrifice for their studies, to sacrifice for their life, for their family. If there is not sacrifice in your child, I can tell you what is the future of your children. I can tell you right now, I'm not a prophet, but I can tell you right now what is your future of your finances. if I see the sacrifice that you make with your finances, I can tell you, if I see the sacrifice in your finance, what the future is for you. I can tell you what is the future of the church if I see the sacrifice of the members put in to move in this church for. I can tell you. I can tell you the future. I'm not a prophet, but I can assure you what is the future of this church. Depend of the sacrifice the people put. I can tell you what is the future of your marriage if I see the sacrifice that you put to love and take care of your family, your wife, or your husband. Today, thousands and thousands of people are persecuted, are killed. There are missionaries in the jail because they have 2 Bibles in their pocket. There's people condemned to be 15 years in the jail because they give some Bibles somewhere else. What are we going to do, Nehemiah? Hey, Nehemiah! What are we going to do, Nehemiah? What are we going to do, Antioch Church? We're going to still come church and complain about everything? We're going to be still come church and complain about, I don't like to see my pastor without tie. He was working today to put this building with heat. You cannot work with a tie. But it's really sad to see our church sometimes complaining about single thing. When the foundation of our faith, our church, our country, is a sacrifice.